I got to the hospital and they took my BAC and it was a 0.50.
What the fuck, dude?
And
how are you still here, man? What the hell?
That's what the doctor came in and said. He said he had never seen someone with a BAC that high. And he goes, there's one thing that saved you here. And it was your tolerance. And I looked at him and I said, wow, it looks like 10 years of drinking finally paid off.
Pretty good joke. Pretty good joke.
That's how you were meant to be a comic.
Yeah.
You still got that zinger in,
I mean, he was just like, the fact that you can even talk right now, because I've never seen anyone with that high
That's
BAC in my
incredible,
life.
dude. Half your blood was booze.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And so then I went to a detox facility for about a week and got control of my legs again and came out to California and went to rehab, and that's where I met Nick Tervasala.
Wow.
How did you meet Nick?
He was working at that sober living facility I was at.
That's the same one. All right.
He had been a resident there.
Yeah, he was in there and then he started working.
And then he started working there, and that's where I met him. And
so funny, dude.
I had one conversation with him, and we just had this immediate great banter, him and I back and forth. And he had told me an idea that he had for a script, for a show that he wanted to do. He's like, I want to do this TV show. And that night, I sat down and wrote the script. This was like within a week of knowing him,
Yeah.
And then I showed him the script, and he was like terrified. He was like, who the hell is this kid writing this script?
After just telling you an idea,
Yeah.
one kind of conversation.
Because I knew, I was like, I had this sense, I was like, you and I are meant to work together on something, and you and I are meant to do something together. And the reason why I think I felt that way was twofold. One, I do think Nick and I had this like really great, genuine, immediate banter. It was like, how you'll meet someone and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
I get how your mind works,
Mm-hmm.
But then it was also, I was sitting there searching for meaning and purpose, because look, they asked me to come back to Denver. They wanted me back there.
You meet Nick, and he had done it a couple times,
Right. So Nick, no. Nick was already doing it.
Oh, okay.
Nick had been doing it he'd done it in college, and then he'd been doing it in LA.
Oh, that's right.
And it was just really him and Aldous.
Yeah.
There wasn't this whole community, the whole LA renaissance that we live in now. And it was just the two of them really going to mics at Fourth Wall and getting harassed by these older, grizzled comics who were like, you're never going to make it.
100%.
And he was doing mics at the Boulevard and, that kind of stuff. Chateau, Flappers, all those places. But he didn't tell me about any of it, really, when I knew him. We were just talking back and forth about comedy, and my experience with comedy was mostly shows like The Office, Seinfeld, that kind of stuff. But I'd always loved stand-up as an art form. What I realized going to treatment was, okay, drinking's off the table, right? It can't happen again, right? And so now what? Now what do I do with myself and my life? And I really thought I was going to go into treatment and work in treatment. I was I was out of school for like a month before I enrolled in some classes at UCLA, and I was doing I was taking classes to get my alcohol and drug counseling certification at UCLA.
All right.
And so I moved out of sober living in December of 2023. Then in January of this year, I got a call from Nick, and he was hosting this mic at Comedy Boulevard, and he was like, I need people. I need numbers.
A bringer.
Gotta fill seats, dude. Butts and seats.
But also by that time, I had been going to his shows.
Yeah.
I'd been a bringer for him at Flashback. I'd been a bringer for him at the Ice House. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this. And then I started seeing some comics where I was like, oh, I want to do this.
Nice.
One of the first people I felt that about was Ansley Bailey. Do you know her?
No.
Okay. She's a great comic around the scene. She does a lot of stuff. But I remember seeing her at the Ice House and thinking, oh, this is so interesting because it just gripped me in this way. So anyways, Nick invited me to a mic, and I was like, what's an open mic? This was January of this year. I was like, what's an open mic, And he kind of explained the concept to me, and I was like, I don't have jokes. He goes, no, just go up there, talk about your shit, Because he goes, you talk about your alcoholism in such a funny way.
Yep.
So I did. I went up there. The first joke I told was the Sir Walter Bounty Hunter joke.
Pretty good.
And Jason Rogers was there, and Jason was like, oh, I'm in recovery too. And it was like this immediate warm welcome, which I did not expect. I thought everyone was going to be mean and cold. And even the way Nick had talked about open micers was mean and cold, and all these old distant guys. Instead, it's guys like you guys.
There's a lot of open micers that are not pleasant.
Right.
I think you sold it just about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And then
that's rough.
The second mic I went to, Nick couldn't go, but I was like, immediately when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is great, and I want to do this now. And so second mic I went to, Nick didn't go. And I'd been writing jokes, I've been watching this stuff, and then I got booked for a show, my second mic ever.
Jesus.
The Corinne Sullivan was doing a Thursday night TBT comedy at the Comedy Boulevard, and I was so excited. I brought 20 people.
You brought 20
to a boulevard?
How did you bring 20 people?
I don't know 20 people, dude. What the hell?
Well, it was all these people from recovery.
Okay.
It wasn't any comics.
Wow.
I thought that was like a deficit. I'm like, oh, I didn't bring any comics as my bringers. I hope they're not upset about that. And Nick's like, I think they're gonna love having 20 non-comics.
No, that's better.
That's gold.
I love that you thought that was like the.
Well, I didn't know.
I love that you thought that was like the rule that was like, well, everyone just brings other comics, so that must be what a bringer is. It's like, no, you're supposed to be just a normal guy in the audience.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed. Yeah,
bringing comics makes the show worse.
Worse, it makes it worse. Oh my God, it makes it so much worse. So, and then I was just like, okay, fuck UCLA. Not as a school. I love the school. But
how'd the first show go?
It was okay.
Nice.
It was okay. I got some laughs, and that felt good. And then I started doing mics every day.
Nice.
And I live in Santa Monica, so I drive an hour every day.
That's got to change.
It's gonna change. It's gonna change. But I drive an hour to mics every day, and what I listen to, and I've said this to you, both of you before, is I listen to this podcast.
That's crazy.
On my drive. Not every day, because you guys don't come out with enough episodes. But when a new one drops, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing in the car,
Right on.
Well, thank you, man.
And so...
Did you watch it before we met?
No.
No? It was like
I didn't know about it before we met,
true.
I would have, but I didn't. And what I actually... Nick and I used to drive to a lot of mics together, because he used to live in Santa Monica. And so that was kind of, and we'd run jokes by each other and stuff. It was great. It was like an hour-long open mic before the actual mic. And then, so I just became like obsessed and addicted to it, And I think as it relates to my recovery, people have different relations. Like, should you get addicted to something else if it's like, because a lot of people turn to food after alcohol.
Well, if it's something positive, why not get addicted to it?
I do think that there's healthy obsessions.
Totally.
For sure.
You get addicted to working out.
Well, that's what there are a lot of.
Totally.
You ever seen these guys with all the tattoos and for sure. I know so many people who like are at Equinox every day, you know, and but yeah, I fell in love with it immediately. So first couple shows were okay, and then the first big show I did was a guys' night.
Mm-hmm.
March.
How many people did you bring to that?
I brought 21.
Jesus.
So you doubled the numbers there, dude.
Yeah, 21.
Man.
And I brought my whole sober living facility. Yeah, that was huge, and they all came. It was great. That was the first show that I really got. I wouldn't call them big laughs, but like the kind of laughs where you're like, oh, that's what this is supposed to feel like.
The feeling of a potential kill, if not a kill.
Right. Well, I mean, looking back at the tape now.
Of course, now,
like,
it
never.
Sucks.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
No, but that's all you need is that little like pop, and you're like, oh, I did something there.
Right.
I did comedy.
Yeah.
Instead of just silence at an open mic.
Exactly. And then, but of course, like, I still don't think I had good context for what a good show was. And then finally in May, I did a string of 4 shows that all went really well.
Nice.
I did Ice House, Percy's show, Percy and Friends of the Ha Ha, the Improv, and then the store.
Nice.
And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is it.
Nice.
This is really what I'm meant to do, and was getting the big pops and all that stuff. And Nick was there for all of that, you know. It's a weird universe that my comedy mentor is Nick Dervasila.
Wow.
Who's 5 years younger than me.
God is truly cruel, isn't he?
Does not have a college degree. Does not have a stable job.
Yeah.
Or a car.
Or a car. I'm his car.
Yeah.
Or a phone all day today.
Or a phone. I was late to this podcast because Nick left his phone in my car.
That's okay. You brought charcuterie.
I did. But listen, isn't that kind of perfect?
So
though?
funny.
But it's perfect, right? That a guy like me, who comes from all of this education, and all of this prestige, and all that, like that, I'm meant to have a mentor
And
like him.
Here's Nick.
Yeah,
there you go.
This
Nick,
is
go ahead.
what the universe has thrown at me,
That's actually perfect.
But it works, you know.
totally.
I've never heard that before. With that back knowledge, that makes your relationship with Dervasila so much more funny.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
so much more
hilarious.
He's gonna hate me saying this on camera, but I want to say it.
That's funny, bro.
So he's gonna hate this so much. So that Ice House show I did the first time in the California Room. Have either of you performed there?
Not the main one.
Not in the
Okay.
Ice House. I've never
Oh,
even
the
been.
Ice House. No, never.
No. Okay. So that room, that California room, there's something kind of magical about that room. It was a room designed for comedy.
Yeah.
You know. And I was getting just the biggest pops in my life, and I was getting applause breaks. Like I did BB&F, and I got this huge applause break. Piss King killed, all that stuff. I look over at Nick, and he and I make eye contact, and he's got tears in his eyes.
Oh, wow.
He would hate it so much, but
Nick, you cried, dude, like a girl, dude. Come on, man.
he was so proud of me, you know, and because
That's
he
cool.
was there from the beginning, and he was there when I entered into LA sobriety with no idea what I was going to do with my life and no idea who I was, and I was 11 days sober. 11 days, and my mind was out of control.
Yeah.
Because I just come out of this near-death experience.
Well, he's got to see the entire arch.
Yeah.
He's seen like the entire story from start to where it is right now.
Yeah.